Hello all, welcome back to our channel. I hope you are all doing good. Today we are going to discuss about AWS Identity and Access Management, which is IAM. So day before yesterday, we have created for free tier account and started with how we are going to use that free tier account. And later we have created a root user account. With the help of root user account, we have logged in into the AWS management console and explored the console settings and what are the services which is available and how are we going to use and what are the features available in that management console to understand all those points. Uh, now, I mean for this today video, we are going to explore more about identity and access management. So in order to go further, maybe more and more services we are going to use in future. So before that, we need to understand more about what is IAM and why we are using for IAM, what is users, what is roles, and what are the policies, and how these policies are worked, and why we are using those policies or permissions when we are talking about for the AWS services or maybe from the cloud perspective. Okay, now we will get into this topic. First thing is that to understand more about identity and access management. Okay, we will start with the hands-on exercise. Also, we can learn while doing it. So basically, we need to understand what is users and what is roles, what are the policies, how user roles is working, and how user policies attached to that, and what is the effective when we are going for any kind of user policies when we are accessing any kind of services, and how these policies or access is getting internally or maybe externally worked in order to make sure the services should be very secure and safe manner. So that's what we are going to discuss about. But if you talk about the industry perspective, maybe that each and every industry gets maybe for the services and policy roles, it may be vary. But if you talk about in general, so we will go through or maybe we will walk you through some of the policies and rules and for the permissions, how we are going to create a user, how are we going to add this user into the group, how are we going to create a rules, and how are we going to create a policies, and how are we going to attach those policy into the respective groups as well as for the respective users. So this is how we are going to discuss. And in case if you want to learn more about that, okay, so uh, just to go through this video, and based on that video you can go ahead and apply. Maybe you can extend your maybe for the hands-on things based on your use cases. Okay, so now let's get into this AWS console. Also we are going to learn more about maybe we had understand about AWS root user. So what is the root user and how it works? Now root user is not a best practice to do day-to-day activities, but we are going to create a IAM user in order to use that day-to-day activities. Basically, in industries, if you open an AWS account, that's called like is kind of owner of that account. So the owner have has the full authorities or maybe full permission in order to use all the services which is provided by AWS. But this is not a best practice in industry or maybe for your day-to-day activities. You have to create a IAM user. So provide the least privileges or maybe least permissions in order to use your day-to-day activities to perform any kind of operations in AWS console or in AWS cloud computing. Okay, let's get into this AWS management console. Let's explore the things. Okay, let me go to this AWS Management Console. Yeah, I am into this AWS Management Console. Let me sign into this console. Okay, okay, let me log into the root user because I'm going to create a IAM user for this account. Let This is my root user account. Then I'm giving my password. Okay. So I have to give for multi-factor authentication code. Is okay. For it's enabled for more security. Yes. So now I just get into my AWS account. Okay, this is how we explored last day. For I hope I explained all those things, the points, whatever we discussed. Now, as I told you, in an organization, generally in an industries, we could not, or maybe we should not use for the root account in order to perform any kind of day-to-day activities. For that, what we are going to use, we are going to create now AWS IAM user. So if you see here, this is my account. In this account, I have account ID. I don't have any IAM user here, which means, so if I open or if I create IAM user under this account, I can able to see the IAM user ID. Okay, now I am into root user account. Let's go and create for the IAM user. So in order to perform day-to-day activities in AWS cloud computing. Okay, now, so there are you can search with multiple ways. Maybe I can tell you for how are we going to get into this. One way which I already explained for the last day, you can go here and you can see IAM services where it is coming. Okay, as I told you, these are the categories. Each category we have different services. So basically, IAM will comes under security, identity, and compliance. When I click this, you see here, these are the this is the category, and this is the service. These are the service, and in this service, one of the service is called IAM. What is IAM? Manage access to AWS resources. Just click on this. So once you click on this, what it will happen? So okay, this will get into this respective screen. Now, whenever you launch or maybe whenever you open any kind of services, I would recommend you just to go through this particular page first of all to understand what are these features available, and so what are the details or maybe for the the task which is available with the particular services. You see here, I think you can see this is for the console page, means this is the dashboard which you are going to look into that, and these are some of the detail with respect to that account on the right side. If you see in the left side, this is for the services we are right now which is accessing it. In that, you can see here, there are there are two main division. One is for access management division and access report. Okay, so particularly maybe we are basically you can understand. So these are mostly for the reported related items like access analyzer, archive rules, analyzer settings, all those things, credential report, everything will be stored here. But if you talk about, we will discuss what are the majority actions or maybe for the categories which is or task which is provided as part of these services. Okay, so if you see here in this access management, you have user groups, you have users, you have roles, you have policies, you have identity providers, you have settings. This is for account settings, fine, this kind of settings, and this is for some kind of management, root access management activity, which is newly introduced, and this would be available under this section. So basically, we can focus the main uh, categories here: user groups, users, roles, policies. Mostly these are the main concept here, and identity providers. Okay, so now we will go and maybe we can go through one by one to understand what are these things, and also we can do some kind of exercise so that we can able to understand how these uh, features which is used for these respective services. Okay, so now, so when we talk about groups, right, this is for user group. Okay, So let's talk about user first. Okay. So in an when we talk about users, so for example, in an organization, there are multiple users, which in a team there are multiple users are available. Each user they can perform different tasks. For example, there are developers, there are QA, there are DevOps, there are SREs, or there are some architects, and there are some solution managers, or there are some product owners. So these are some of the users which contains, or maybe these are the users comes under in a particular team. Okay, so each members are, for each user having different role they will be performing in an organization, right? So for example, developer can do some set of tasks, DevOps engineer can do some set of tasks, SRE engineer can do some set of tasks. Similarly, for product owner, solution architect, uh, or product owner, or maybe for enterprise architect, they'll have different roles, right? So for that, in order to categorize those things, right, we have separate roles and responsibility. That's what we are going to segregate with the user. Okay, now we have user groups. Okay, what is user groups? Like, we have users will call it as a single member group, will call it as a set of users, which is called as a groups, right? For example, development group, tester group, DevOps engineer group, solution architect group, or maybe SRE group, something like that. Each group more than one users. For example, in development we have three members, tester we have two members, or maybe solution architect we have two members, and SRE we have four members, something like that. Okay, so we will allocate those, or maybe we can segregate those users under some categories. For example, each group having different means each group have set of users which they are going to perform their some of the tasks. That's what they those uh, users will comes under particular group, means under the group. Okay, now we have policies and roles. Okay, so uh, let's discuss about policies. Okay, so policies in the sense, so for example, a developer, as we discussed, one of the user development team, there are multiple users. Development group or development team have many users, right? So if take about one user, right? So what development user, they what development user develop what they will do. So basically they will do some setup task, they will perform some setup task. So that is how they defined in the objective. Okay, so they will write a code, or maybe they will do debugging, or they will do some kind of uh, uh, testing, or maybe they will do some kind of architect. Okay, so these are some of the if you talk about broadly, so developer can do code, and that is the objective of this particular user. Then we talk about, when we go for next user, architect. So architect, they will do for the architect role. So that is the policy, that is the objective which they have been defined for them. Okay, so when we talk about testers, tester will do testing. They will do unit testing, integration testing, and for the um, UAT testing, whatever the testing which will be provided. These are the set of tasks which will be assigned to the respective user. That is how they are going to perform it. So that is the policy. That is the rules and set of rules and regulation has been set up for that particular team, or maybe for the user. Similarly for SRE and for the solution architect, and etc. or something like that. So we have already defined that. So they will perform the respective task. Okay. So this is kind of the roles, the policies. Okay. Now the roles. So role, if you just remember that role is like for kind of uh, temporary things, like, so one person, for example, one user is there, they are going to perform some role. For example, developer is going to perform some QA role or maybe testing role. So if they are going to perform some testing role, i- but basically developer user or maybe the users comes under development team or maybe development group is not a tester. So basically, sometimes or maybe the based on the situation, the developer is going to perform some kind of testing role due to some resource constraints or maybe tester is not available. So during that time, the developer is going to perform some testing. For that, we are going to create some assumption, assumed role. So kind of temporary access to that particular user in order to perform that particular task, which is defined from the objective from the testing objective, which is already defined. So that particular development user will go to that, will get the respective permissions or respective access, which is for assumed role. So that developer the developer now is assumed as a tester. So which we have been provided for the respective role or maybe respective permissions. So with the help of this assumed role, so the developer is going to now going to perform some kind of testing activity or testing work. So once that work is completed, the tester or maybe for the developer user will, once it is done, he will come back to their normal or maybe for their original work once that work is completed, which means that only for that particular time he is having that access. After that, that access will go away. That's what is kind of roles. So is kind of temporary, which is not used for permanently, and this will be rolled back or maybe reverted back. So once that task is done, this is for the roles. Okay, so I think for most of the things, this is for identity providers, like for is kind of identity. So in case if you want to access something or maybe a kind of identity, you can use that. So these are the major things which we have been means discussed. I hope you understand the each and every concept or maybe each and every features under these services. So now we are going to create those things through hands-on to understand more about that. Okay, let's go to that user. So I am going to create a user now. Uh, okay, some of the user already created. Let's go and create for one of the user. Okay, now uh, demo user. Okay, so here you can provide access to the AWS management console. So I want to create an AWS, I want to create an IAM user. So just I want to create that. So you have that two option. One is for console password. So auto-generated password, which is generated by AWS. You can generate the password by using this, or else you can give custom password, which means I am going to give custom password now. Okay, okay, I've done. So now I'm going to create next. See here. So see here, there are next step. You see, just go when you are doing something right. I would recommend you see left side of the screen and right side of the screen. So what is the steps? What steps right now we are doing it? So what is the next step? So each and every steps is there. Very easy to understand, and you can also, if you have any doubt in between or something like that, when you are performing any actions, you can go ahead and take this particular keyword and search with this AWS documentation page itself to understand more about the services. So that's what you can learn the things and you can remember the things. So now I first step I have been completed. The next second, right now I am in second step. Okay, it's asking for that particular username I given, just enabled for that. Uh, the name means username and enabled for password for the AWS management console for the IAM user. Okay, now it's asking for set permissions. Okay, so what permission they're asking for? Add user to group. Anyhow, we are not going to add this user into the group. Copy permission. We are not going to use that permission. We are not going to copy any permission which is already there. And I want to attach this policy. Okay, I want to attach some policy based on the, as I told you, it's based on the requirement, or it's based on the industry requirement which you are going to perform when you are creating in a project, or maybe when you are working under the projects. Okay, so right now what I am going to create for this user, so I'm going to create administrator access. You see here, there are multiple policy name which is defined. Here you see type. This is the policy name. I'm just explaining one by one. Please note it down, or maybe please just listen. Here, that's what I'm just keep on telling. There are, you see here, permission policy. There are 1337 policies which is available right now. Okay. So if you see here, just when you perform this activity, you just go this, or maybe do this work, or maybe do this exercise in a slow way, or maybe to understand, do it in a slow way, or maybe do it in multiple times so that you can understand very clearly uh, if you want to do, or maybe in order to perform your activity. Okay, so I'm just going some means little bit fast, so maybe you can do it from your own, maybe take your time and do the things. So you see here, there are permission policies, right? I'm going to assign that administrator access policy to that particular user. Okay, see here, there are type here. Okay, here you see some of the types, which is, you see here, some of the things which is provided by AWS managed. So which means that AWS, which is already defined for each and every services, what access, or maybe for example administrator access. So what are the things which will be provided here that will be available? Okay, so when we expand this, you can see, so you see here. Okay, so this is the version. This is effect allow, means whether it is allowed or denied. Actions would be star, means everything, all. Resource would be all. So any services or anything, any actions which is particular to this account, they can be able to access any services within this. That's what, um, anything, everything can be accessed by using this administrator access. That's why it's mentioned that. So you can use this. Okay, so we see here, yeah, fine. That's what this is for attached, right? Now you go for, I have selected for administrator. Now I'm just creating for next step. Next step is, you see, step 3, review and create. So review and create, just to review that things, whatever you have done, that just to go through, or maybe the details which is already there. So our username is demo user. This is for, I provided a custom password, and this is I given for administrator access, and this is for the IAM user password which is attached already. Okay, now I'm going to create user just now. Okay, just user got created. Now successfully created demo user, and now you go to this user, this you return to user list, or maybe go to users, continue. Okay, let's refresh it. Okay, enabled. Okay, yeah, this user is enabled now. Okay, so this is the user. Okay, so I have been created user with administrator access. Just when I'm clicking this, okay, so I can see now administrator access. Okay, hope you understand, right? So how this access has been created. So for this, these are the things. Just click that. You can able to uh, see that what is the summary and what are the permissions, and you can see here. So here you can see if you want to perform this particular user in order to connect some services or maybe connect to the third party, or maybe if you want to connect some other applications, we have option called create access key. When you create access key, it will provide some access key. Okay, by using this access key, you can access, or maybe for somebody from other source access your if you enable or if you configure this access key, they can access from our service or from this particular account service, they can get the services. Okay, so this is the thing. So now we have created user. Uh, Now the user is right now is active, and if you see, yeah, so demo user has been just 2 minutes back has been created. It's enabled. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to log in with this demo user now, which means this is my IAM user, right? So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this account ID. Okay. So this is my account ID. Now I'm going to log in with this account ID. Let me sign out this, sign out from root user. Now I'm going to sign in with IAM user. So now, hope you understand, right? So now if you talk about root user having end-to-end access, which means all the service, not only administrator, also beyond that. So when we talk about when we talk right now, when we talk about IAM user, right now I enabled this IAM user for administrator access. For example, in an organization, they will not provide administrator access for some users, maybe for users which right like for developers, testers, architect, or maybe for SRE engineers. Okay, so they will not provide. They will be assigned for only for EC2 machine creations, S3 bucket creation, DB creations, or alert creation or logging enabled, something like that. These are the services they'll be provided according to their roles and responsibility. So right now I am going to explain you like, okay, so I am just assigning some policy by respect to that particular user. So I am going to explain that. So how this policy is getting enabled, or maybe how this policy is getting worked for that particular user. Okay, now I am going to now I logged out from my root user so that I have been safe now. So I don't want to worried about, okay, is anything is going to deleted or maybe something like that, or somebody access unauthorizedly, something like that. Now I have logged out from my root user. I'm going to log in with my IAM user so that the IAM user having less privileges or less policies, less permission, so that the majority of risk or maybe for the kind of attack will be reduced. Okay. So I am just going to give account ID. IAM user is demo user. Password is okay. Okay. It's asking for old password. Fine. I'm giving new password. Confirm password. Okay. Continue to sign in. Fine. So I just change it. Now you see here, right? I think you can able to see. So if you see here, this is the user which we have created. This is the user for this AWS account. Is one of the user for using this AWS account. Just you have to learn, maybe you have to understand with this perspective. So this is one of the user which been tied up or maybe a part of this AWS account. Now, when you are going to click this, right? Just click on this. See here, this is the account ID. And now you can able to see IAM user. Okay. So this user, for this user having separate window or maybe separate console, this having all those viewable means whatever is available, they can able to view it. So they are going to perform whatever the activity they are going to perform it based on the policy or roles or maybe permission assigned provided based on the policy permission roles assigned. Okay, please note this point. Now now you see in this page itself you can able to see this particular IAM user not able to view this current cost and usage data. See, last time we are able to see, or maybe when we logged into this root user, they can very well can able to see these details. Now, this particular IAM user, even though we assigned for administrator access, right? So this particular user doesn't have the access to view this cost and usage. That is why I told you I identity and access management is a powerful service, and this can be used in a different, maybe multiple ways, or maybe different scenarios for various organizations. So if we talk about in banking and financial institutes for projects, they'll be using for more secured way. So they'll be assigning for least privileges in order to perform this their activity. Now you can able to segregate, or now you can able to realize that so root user having access to view this, but IAM user doesn't have access to view this. I hope you are clear, right? So that is how you can go through that and understand the logic, or maybe understand or compare the uh, maybe compare the details while doing slowly, or maybe while doing the things hands on. Maybe you can realize the things so that it will get remembered for a long time. Also you can feel like, okay, so I can able to learn the things, maybe I can able to realize the things. Okay, yes, so this is the things. That's what we are always hands on, or maybe for the practical things will be always very good, or maybe while doing the things do the practical or maybe do the hands on. So it will be more realistic way to can understand any of the technologies. So this is the one of the means this is one of the difference we can see. Now we have logged into that IAM user. Here I told this console and all will be similar as like we discussed earlier. So you see here, this is the difference account ID. Under that we have IAM username. If you talk about root user, it will not come. So only account ID will be there. Okay, so this is the difference. So now you, as I told you, so this in the left side, these are the region. So each region, this is the region code. This is the region. Um, so if you see here, right now I am there in this region. So if I want to change it, yes, you can also change it. Asia Pacific Mumbai region. This is the region code AP South one. Okay, so yeah, now you see, this console has been changed. So some of the accesses came into that, but except this or this costing and all other things, most probably this particular user having access it. Okay, now now if you click on this, for example, I just want to verify whether we have the access. Yes. So if I want to click this, yes, we can able to see if I want to go for S3 service. Yes, I can able to see. I can have the access so that I can able to address, or maybe I can able to uh, access those services by using IAM user. Okay, now now if you want to, okay, so now these are the things which we have been done it, right? So now what I'm going to do, what I'm going to explain now, I am going to log in with my root account. Okay. So once logged into my root account, I am going to restrict some of the action for this user. Okay. For example, let me sign out this, sign in again. I'm going to log in with my root user. I'm going to restrict access for this IAM user. Okay. Let me, yeah, a second. Okay. Let's log in. No, go to IAM. I'm going to IAM. I'm going to user. Okay. I am going to the demo user now. So what I'm going to do here, if you see, I am going to disable this or maybe remove this administrator access. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to I'm just explaining. I'm going to remove this administrator access. Okay, it's been removed it. Now I'm just to log out from this. Now you go here, see demo user. I don't have administrator access now. Okay, now I'm going to shut down or maybe sign out this. Now I'm going to log in with my user account once again. So what is my 3567? Okay, I am user, demo user. Okay, once again, signing in. Okay, I am getting into this. Okay, now you see, immediately you can see, right? I removed some of the access, which means some of the means administrator access. You see immediately there is a difference. Okay, earlier it is only for this section I am unable to access it. Now you can see this section, which this section is for what? Amazon queue. We don't have access for this. See, this is for security, some kind of Amazon queue, right? So these are the I don't have access. Remaining I have that, but for with that access, some is kind of basic access, but these services I am not able to access. Now you see, if suppose I am going to click this EC2. Okay, see here, I don't have any access to perform this. For example, if I want to launch an instance, then I want to launch an instance, but it will say CC. Some of the permissions which is not available, it will ask, see, you are not authorized to perform this. Easy to describe this. Okay, so this is the things. So and if you see, I'm going to S3 service. Let me go to this S3. Let's see whether I have the access or not. Okay, create a bucket. Let me go test my demo bucket. Okay, create bucket. See, you can see very clearly failed to create a bucket. To create a bucket, okay, permission is required. So guys, you can able to understand now. So how powerful this IAM, I means identity and access management, how powerful this kind of services for AWS cloud computing perspective. So this is one of the sample thing I can teach you. Maybe for the teaching purpose, I can able to explain for this one of the sample. Similar way, in an organization there are lot of services for different teams, they are going to use that. So in order to access, or maybe in order to restrict, or maybe in order to provide permissions, or in order to create a boundary for respective users or respective services, we are going to widely use this identity and access management in order to perform, in order to secure the services, or in order to secure the user, in order to give the boundaries or permission to the users or services. So I hope it is clear. So this is how we are going to use that identity and access management. Okay, now we are going back and understand uh, IAM, identity and access management. So we have created users, and we have created users. In that user, what is the IAM user? We have logged into this IAM user to create a user. uh, how root user is works, and how IAM user is worked, why root user is used, and why IAM user is used, why root user is what actions or what activity which gets performed under root user, what are the activities gets performed under IAM user, and which scenario we are going to use root user, and which scenarios we are going to use IAM user. So these are the different way or different scenarios you need to understand. Accordingly you're going to use that. Okay, so now as I told you, this is the group, right? Okay, so I'm going to create another user. I think this is for demo user, right? Okay, so let me log out, sign out to this, sign in with my root user. Okay, sign into the root user, and now I'm going to explain about so how to create multiple user and how those user gets added or make grouped into the different groups with the okay. Now go to IAM. Okay, IAM. So we have four user right now. I'm going to create. Okay, we have already some of the user. Let's we can do that. Okay, so now we are going to create a group. Okay, so I'm going to create a group. So the group name is development development group. So this is the group. So for this group, I'm going to I'm going to select. Okay, these are the user which I already created. Let me select these users, some of the users. Now I'm going to access. I'm going to provide administrator access. I'm going to provide administrator access to that group. Okay. Now I have created development group. Under that group, I have added two users. Suppose in case if you want to add user, or you want to add more user, you can go ahead and add user like this. Okay. So in case if you want to add this user, Yes, you can use add that. Okay, now this user came into this under this group. If suppose if you want to remove, yes, you can remove this group. Yes, it's been removed it. Okay, so this is the way you can create a user, and now you can assign those respective permission to the group so that whoever under this particular group, they can able to access whatever the permission which is assigned to that group, or maybe they can overall the users under that group, they can go ahead and perform the things. So now we have clearly defined about how user groups works and how user is works, and what are the advantages and disadvantages, how we are going to use as part of our industry market, or maybe for the industry project, and why we are using for identity and access management. Okay, so now when as we talked about roles, right? So earlier we talked about roles. Yeah, see here. So before getting to these roles, we have discussed already with the policies. So there are policies which is already defined by AWS manage, which means AWS already created some policy which we are going to use that, or maybe the user is going to use from that already defined policies. Okay, so these are the policies should be. In case I don't want to use the AWS provided policy, yes, very well you can go ahead and create. I have created one admin policy. This is for customer manage. Similarly, you can go ahead and create. Okay, create policy. This is the policy you're going to create. And if you want to select which service, and service is okay for an EC2, and add, see here, if you want to add only list, or if you want to add only read, or if you want to add only write, and if you want to add permission tagging. Okay, so which means that this is more secured way, which means that you don't want to give full access to that particular service, rather than you are going to only give for read only, write only, or only for the view purpose only. That is how. Okay, so you can understand. Okay, this is the policy. And okay, so user groups we have completed, user we have completed, policies we have completed, and roles, as I told you, roles is for kind of temporary access which is provided by the client, or maybe which is provided by the any kind of services which you are going to perform the activity for this account. Okay, so create a role. Okay. See, as I told you earlier, whenever if you want to perform any activity from the screen, or maybe from the program, or maybe from that account, you have to see that step by step process and what are the things which will be provided here. See, select trusted entity. Okay, so which means that you have to select your trusted entity. Okay, so in order to provide your access, which means provide your provide your uh, permission, or maybe those entities is going to access your service, you can say. Okay, see here, trusted entity type. This is for full and full AWS services. Okay, if you select here, these are the AWS services. Or if you want to use AWS account in order to other AWS account, you're going to access your service. See here, these are the things. Okay, so or else this is for web entity. Okay, allows user federated by specified external web identity provider. Assume this role to be performed action on this account. Okay, very clearly said that as we discussed, this is how the things. Okay, SAML, this for authentication purpose. Okay, so this is for custom trust policy. So this is the policy which you have been provided. That is for you are going to provide, or you are going to create it. So what are the things you are going to provide? You need to provide some kind of JSON format file, or maybe JSON format entry, so that it will go and verify for the it is applied for that particular uh, services, or maybe that particular user, or maybe for the resources gets used that. Okay, so these are the basic things. Okay, so this is how the things. You have to provide in case if you want to do this is for action would be STS assumed role. Okay, so this is for the things. In case if you want to add administrator role, you can create this JSON format entry and you can use that. Now, if you want to add this any services, for example, I want to access only for the EC2 instance. I am going to create that. If you want to create this, you see here there are EC2 role for system manager, a support role. Okay, so if you want to create that, you can go ahead. Okay, for this EC2 access, I just want to give, I just want to give. Oh, you can select this, right? You can select this. Policy or maybe which permission you are going to create for that. If you want to select administrator, then what it will do, it will apply for this administrator role. Okay, now this is the role name. For example, EC2 full access. Okay, so see here, allow EC2 instance to call AWS service on your behalf. Okay, so any services in case if you want to access your EC2 instances, this kind of access needs to be provided and share this role to that particular service or maybe as give the permission so that that particular service or maybe third party or whatever the services from other account they're coming to our or maybe it will reach to our end or maybe in this account they will access it. See here, this is the policy which has been defined here. See, this is the version statement. Effect would be allow. Action is assume role. As I told you, right? This is for the temporary purpose. Okay. So principal service is for AWS. So this is for the AWS. This is for the API URL means API, and this is EC2 Amazon AWS com is the full access for this EC2 service. Okay. So now you if you create this, so this role will get created. EC2 full access. Now, so now if you want to assign this role to some particular or maybe the service provider or maybe for third party or maybe any other resources which is going to access or maybe within your account you are going to assign this resource or assign this policy, assign this role to that existing any one of the users from your account. So what they will do, they can perform only these actions. Okay, so that means only that EC2 full access permission will be there. If the role assigned for some of the persons, if they are going to perform any other activity or maybe any other actions, they cannot able to perform it. Only for EC2 access they can perform since this role have only this access. In case if you want to extend or maybe give some other actions or maybe some extra activities, extra roles or permissions into these roles, you can go ahead and add those policies or maybe permissions. Then you save those permissions. Once you come back, maybe those permission will be reflected. Later, you can get more permission. That is how the identity and access management will work. Okay, now we have been explained mostly all those points. Okay, now I hope you are understand or maybe I hope it is cleared for your understanding since we have did for very detailed video. So now you can this is for some sample project or maybe sample use case which you have done. So maybe for your use case or maybe for your sample project for your own project, maybe you can go ahead and think through that and create a users groups policies permissions roles, and for accordingly you can use that. Okay, so this is how we are going to perform for our day-to-day activities in order to use that identity and access management. So mostly, I hope you have been cleared all those concepts. And still, if you need more clarity or maybe if you need more information on that, so feel free to comment those or for your questions, and we'll go through that questions and we'll keep in touch with you. And I'll create for that in case of any more video or maybe any concern or maybe any extra things in that particular video, we can add upon that and we can learn further. So I hope it is clear. I have given my best. I have explained the whatever the required things in order to get in started with this particular identity and access management. So as I told you, Uh, it's not like single session we can't cover all those things, but it is, as I told you, this is very detailed. We have already covered as a detailed part, but thing is that you can go ahead and apply for your own scenarios and use that scenario in your real-time projects, and accordingly make sure that whether every permissions, policies, and roles should be allocated properly and work as expected. So that's what I stressed in the starting of this video. Is very very important service, and it's been used for any kind of organizations. So it depends on the organization. Like as I told you, uh, it's various purpose. Like so, each and every user having different role and has been managed by administrator, and you can't perform one person activity to another user activity. So that is how it is getting segregated and has been provided boundaries to the service usage. Okay, I hope it is cleared, and I am very happy to that shared in a detailed video. We will go through some of the topics in future for some other. On top of that, in next video, we will cover the upcoming videos for the next topic. So now we had covered for how are we going to create a setup for pre-tier account, and we have covered for AWS Management Console, how this console is looks like. So what are the features and services available? Then we have covered for how what is the root user and what is the IAM user. So how, what this user for, why we are using those users, and what purpose is for, and also for what is the permissions, identity, and access management, and how this identity and access management will be used for in a industry projects. And you can also go through that and see this video for multiple times to understand, or maybe you can do your hands-on by your own to so that you can how you are going to restrict your access for each and everything. So I hope it is clear. Um, uh, if you don't, or if you didn't subscribe to my channel earlier, so please help us to subscribe so that we will create this kind of video. It's give me motivations to create much videos or maybe more videos on this. So anyhow, we will keep creating videos since we have started for AWS years. We'll go one by each and every step-by-step process to learn AWS in a detailed way. So hope it is clear. If you find this video is helpful or maybe worth or useful, share it with your networks and so that they can also learn and grow together. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe my channel so that it will be uh, boost my confidence, or maybe it's help us to create more this kind of content in future. So thank you very much. All the very best. See you in the next video.